is the Kilgore Bulldog team. They don't, however, but once again, the Buckeye offensive line fails to protect. Coach Buddy Bear hollering out to his line saying, what in the world are you doing? You got to protect the quarterback or he can't throw the ball.
Well, that was number 9, Torrey Henson, who made the stop and stop on the kickoff right there. He stopped David Lee Smith. That time he stopped Tron Webb from being able to spot out the receivers. And Gilmer's just
well, I'm surprised they didn't call a timeout here. I really am surprised they didn't, because if they get a long pass now, they're down to 25 seconds. If they complete a long pass, they're going to have trouble having time to score now. Dropping back to pass is Webb, and Bentley Bowden went inside. Tron Webb threw the pass outside, but once again, they failed to properly block Torrey Henson.
I mean, that is 3 plays in a row. He has been in that backfield. He's made critical stops, and he put a lot of pressure again on Tron. And maybe they can't read and say, hey, Tron's not telling me. He's coming, he's hitting me, it's hurting, fellas.
It's got to in this cold weather. And, of course, now, more critically, if the Buckeyes can't establish something offensively here, I think they go into the locker room beginning to question themselves and their capability to come back and win this thing. Once again, this time they go, and there's definitely a face mask there. The officials miss it. Rico Gardner swung left and came back right, but it's to no avail as he only gets 3 yards. He stays in bounds, though, so the clock will run out and the Buckeyes won't even have to punt it away. 3, 2, 1, and that is the end of the first half of play. Our score, the Kilgore Bulldogs 14, the Gilmer Buckeyes 0. As we told you, they did make the determination that it was safe enough to have the halftime performances tonight. What we will be looking for, fortunately, since we didn't get to do that last week, is bringing, of course, the Buckeye Band performance and the Stars drill team performance to you. Right now, the Kilgore Raging Red defense getting ready, and I think we will take a quick break here until about time for the Buckeye Band to come on and perform. And let's see, Philip Williams coming down, but I don't believe he's quite ready yet. We'll take a quick break and be back to visit with Philip after the Buckeye Band performance. Jacket and Woolley, I believe, actually fumbled the ball, but coming up with it was number 6, Jerome Williams. And so the Kilgore Bulldogs dodge what could have been a good bullet for the Buckeyes had they have been able to recover that. They will set up shop 1st and 10 here to begin the third quarter at their own 36-yard line, leading by the score of 14-0. And quite obviously, the Buckeyes have got to get something going quick.
It's beyond needing to get something. They have to.
Yes. It's Hablinski and, let's see, number 15, Corey Ryder, wide to the left side, but they will run it with Mitchell on a sweep around the right side. He gets from the 36 to the 40, gain of 4, 2nd down and 6. And what was the big cheer I heard you let out down there a while ago? Did you get a score or something?
Carthage 0, Hallsville 6.
Now that blows my mind. I don't think that'll hold up. But I'll tell you another one that surprised me is, and I don't know if you heard this one or not, but right before the half, Pine Tree was only trailing Henderson 17-10. How in the world did Pine Tree get 10 points on that tough Henderson defense? Interesting night.
Well, they've had 6 weeks off.
Yeah, 2nd down and 6. Faking the handoff is Mata. No, handing to Toombs. I thought he faked it, but he did hand to Toombs. And now what Coach Doug Bush was worried about comes to fruition as Toombs just rams it down the Buckeyes' throat inside Buckeye territory to the 41. And I was visiting at the half with the Henderson Scouts here checking out Kilgore, and we got to talking about the way things had gone for the Buckeyes, and he said, I really hated to see them give up that touchdown on the pass to Toombs right there before the half. They played so great, but I am very, very concerned that the Buckeyes may just emotionally lose all emotion after falling down 14-0 in a game when they had played a pretty good half in. And certainly if they go down 21-0, you can write this thing off, and at that point the Buckeyes just have to play the rest of this one for pride. And now Hablinski goes in motion but still stays on the left side. Mata back again, gets a big rush, but nobody on the right side. And finally, rushing over is Tim Ford to drop Mata for no gain. And that will bring up a 2nd down and 10. And a great job. I thought if he had gotten past Ford, he could have rambled probably down to about the 10-yard line before anybody could have caught him, because there was literally no one else over there for the Buckeyes.
Well, Ford put it in overdrive to go over there and catch him. I was going to say on that other play, the play on the first down play, Toombs went through Ford and Smith the people who have been tackling like crazy the past couple of games, and that's just amazing.
Well, Coach Doug Bush had told us in the pregame interview that he didn't think the Buckeyes defensively could bring down Toombs all night. He jaggles, fumbles the ball, but falls immediately back on it. Fortunate for him, the bounce went perfectly, but no gain on the play again, and it's 3rd and 10, so the Buckeyes have a chance defensively to come up with a big play here. And, of course, I'm sure they want to get the offense back out on the field just as quickly as they can to see if they can get something to work.
Well, that time Will Farrell penetrated in, forced him outside into Chris McIntosh, who wrapped him up and put him down. And I wish he would have lost the fumble. But the Buckeyes are showing signs of saying, hey, maybe let's play now. We've had the halftime off. Let's get out there and do something.
Well, they need to do it right here. 3rd and 10. They'll go with triplets to the left side. No doubt about this one. Pass all the way. And here comes a big rush. McIntosh couldn't quite get to him. Mata still on his feet, but he'll go out of bounds about 3 or 4 yards short of the first down. They mark him out officially at the 35-yard line, 34-yard line. That will bring up 4th down, but now only about 3, and certainly a very makeable play the way this Kilgore Raging Red offense has been moving here in the last quarter.
Well, I've noticed Terry Hawkins has been able to penetrate in the field. The problem is they're running away from him, and his speed isn't able to sit there and kick in. They're not running it towards him. They're running it towards Anthony Hawkins, who's about 70 pounds lighter.
Yes, well, Anthony that time had an opportunity but just couldn't quite get there. Once again, 4th and 3. Mata will drop back to pass, hits a wide open rider, and he is all the way inside the Buckeye 20 down to the 15. And no doubt about it, this Kilgore Bulldog team intending to make a statement to not only the Buckeyes but to the Henderson Lions Scouts that are here tonight and saying the district championship goes through Kilgore because that's where they'll play next week.
Well, the only reason he tried to slip down on that.
Again,
they're having a hard time right in that area. That's where he slipped down to get that touchdown before.
And it will be Hablinski and Ryder wide to the left side. The Buckeyes have got to dig in here. They go instead with a sweep play on the pitch out to Mitchell, and he will go for about 8 yards before he's dropped. He's all the way inside the 10 at the 8. 8:37 and counting left in the 3rd quarter, and the Kilgore Bulldogs threatening to turn this into a blowout early in the 3rd quarter.
It's something we don't want to see right there. Chris McIntosh was a little bit slow to get up. They ran it straight at him whenever it hit him. He was shaking up a little bit. He's up on his own power, and he's ready, which is a good sign for the defense.
Hablinski out wide left, Corey Ryder wide to the right, and now they will put the big tight end, number 82, Daniel Morgan, in motion to the left. He gets set, long count by Mata. He hands off to Mitchell once again, and Mitchell inside the 5 down to the 4-yard line. That will be good enough for a 1st and goal with 8:01 left in the 3rd quarter. 14-0 lead already by the Bulldogs. And if they score here, I imagine as cold as it is, you will start seeing some of these Buckeye partisans packing it up, taking it to the house.
Whenever you can see your breath in front of you and the Buckeyes are down 21, it's time to go get you a nice cup of cocoa and sit in front of the fire. That's what they're thinking. I'd be here no matter what.
I would too, but as we've mentioned earlier, only the real football fan, as Dr. Andy Glaze put it, would be here tonight. The handoff going to Jamar Toombs. We got a flag in the backfield, which probably means illegal procedure or an illegal motion penalty, and it is motion the call against the Bulldogs. That will march them back to the 9-yard line, but you have to wonder, is that good news or bad news, because of the fact they seem to have a little problem inside the 5, but now being marched back to the 9, that means they can consider the option of a pass again here.
Well, Buckeyes have had problems on this drive defending the pass with their pass defenders falling down, slipping.
Well, obviously, anytime you have a wet field, as we have tonight, the more it's played on, the more you will have problems with that slickness getting worse and worse. Once again, Hablinski out wide to the right, Ryder wide left, dropping back and rolling on the option, pitching back to Mitchell, and he is tripped up as he hits the 5-yard line. They'll mark him down actually just short of the 5, 2nd down and goal, and his number 2 on the front getting a little muddy now.
Well, Rico was able to stop him. And the thing I've noticed is we still have the Buckeyes, even though they have the extra JV people, they're still playing 5 or 6 people both ways, which is tiring them down on defense and also on offense.
Well, the reason I think they are doing that, they feel it's critical to have the best men in, whether they are tired or not. They feel they are better than the JV guys who haven't had any experience. Oh, you got to have a motion penalty on that. My lands. How in the world could there be no motion on that play? I do not understand how they don't call it. Nonetheless, Mata hits J.J. Hablinski, and folks, there is no doubt there were at least 2 or 3 men in motion on that play, but nonetheless, 6:50 left in the third quarter, and for all practical purposes, I think you have to say at this stage of the game, although technically, if the Buckeyes could beat Carthage in Carthage next week, they could make the playoffs. I don't think there is a realistic possibility of that happening, not to take anything away from the Buckeyes, but the Carthage Bulldogs have the most potent offense in this district, far and above what any of the teams we've seen thus far do. Here goes the point after attempt by Chappell. The kick is blocked as Will Farrell comes in and blocks it. And, of course, the Buckeyes pick up and return to Casey Hathaway. If he takes it 98 yards, it's a 2-point score for the Buckeyes, but he is tackled at the 5. So with 6:50 left in the third quarter, our score 20-0 in favor of the Kilgore Bulldogs.
Come in today or give them a call at 843-5691 for all your medicinal needs. You won't find a more caring group anywhere in East Texas. That's the Med Shop Pharmacy, 1700 North Wood in Gilmer.
And following the touchdown, it will be Chappell, the 145-pound sophomore, getting it set to kick away once again. Here goes the kick. It's high, and once again to David Lee Smith at the 7-yard line this time. Smith goes out across the 15, and he will be corralled immediately, as he never is actually dropped down, but certainly they corral him. Henderson 17, Pine Tree 10 still. So
I think that looks like a 16.
Well, they said, oh, it is 16?
16.
I
oh
thought it was 17.
Goodness.
We had heard 17 earlier, so.
This is a beautiful day.
Yeah, this is a very interesting evening this evening. And who would have ever thought that Pine Tree would have had a chance to be in the ball game against Henderson?
I'd love to see him beat them, just whoop them.
I don't think there will be a whooping administered, but may be rather interesting. Dickie Meek's club should be taking over here sometime pretty soon and playing pretty solidly. And the Buckeyes now will be looking at 1st and 10 from their own 17-18 following that return, and on the first down play, the gain is about 4 yards out to the 22.5-yard line. 2nd down and 6 upcoming for the Buckeyes, and no doubt about it, if they want to have anything close to an opportunity to stay in this ball game, the Buckeyes absolutely have to score on this possession. And now it will be Clyde Jones out wide to the right side. Casey Hathaway wide left. Handoff going to Rico Gardner. He's got no blocking, but manages to break free for a few yards as he gets up almost to the 30-yard line, and that'll be good enough for a 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes, so at least they'll move the sticks and give the defense a little opportunity to get some rest here.
The thing I've noticed is, in the past games, Gilmer's been able to use that big offensive line to move people out of the way, and they're having a hard time moving this Kilgore defense. They're having a hard time moving them like they have, against Henderson last week, Pine Tree, Hallsville, and all those smaller schools.
Well, I think part of that, too, though, Aaron, the Buckeyes are just emotionally down after going into the locker room down 14-0. Handoff straight up the middle to Carlos Smith, and that gets them out across the 30 to the 32. Gain of about, call it a short 3 on the play. 2nd down and a long 7 upcoming for the Buckeyes. 5:48 and counting left here in the third quarter. 20-0 in favor of the Kilgore Bulldogs on what almost seems like a winter evening. Seems like we went from summer 24 hours ago to winter.
Indeed, and I'm thinking, the Buckeyes offense right now is kind of like in the winter phase, and they need to crank it up to summer, get that offensive line shot back up with some adrenaline or something.
And we'll see if they can do it here. 2nd down and 7. Handoff going to Rico Gardner. He goes across left tackle, out across the 35, up to the 36-yard line. That will bring up a 3rd down and 3 for the Buckeyes.
And there is a Bulldog scrambling on the ground. Sad to see that. He looks like he might be hurt. Doesn't look too bad. He's under his own power. That was number 31. No, 31. Chad Loper, who's been on in a lot of the plays this game.
He really has. You've called his name quite a bit this evening. And, of course, the Buckeyes' big play goes without saying here. 3rd down and a long 3, and it will be Bentley Bowden out wide to the left side. Everybody else is tight in the backfield. Faking the handoff is quarterback Tron Webb. He'll keep it cut inside at the 35 and be dropped at the 38. That's going to be short of the yardage needed for the first down, and the Buckeyes don't get it done on that play, and Tron will have to drop back into punt formation on 4th and a short 2.
You know what I'd like to see is one of those trick plays, you know, like Cowboys in the 80s whenever they had Danny White. If Kilgore's going to rush it, put the White out, just chunk it down to him, because Tron has that arm that he could do that and take him off.
Well, he could, and of course he, if you will remember, rushed for about a 45-yard gain on a high snap on a punt. Oh, the Buckeyes don't even pretend to go into punt formation. Big gamble here, but they've got to try it if they want to get back in this thing. 4th and 2. And it will be a quarterback sneak by Tron Webb, and he will get the first down as he gets out across the 40. Got it with about a half yard to spare. And I think that the Kilgore defense was a little bit surprised and may not have been anticipating that attempt deep in their territory with this much time left in the game. But gutsy call by Coach Doug Bush. It pays off.
Well, that time I noticed the first person out was Marty Rash, and that big offensive line, Brian Light and all them, just finally got in there and said, hey, we're going to push you boys back and get our 3-4 yards that we need. And that's what we need to see more of this offense, because they had the power and they had the strength to just blow through these little scrawny guys from Kilgore.
Yeah. There's one little scrawny guy, if you can call him that, at 190 there on that line, though, Aaron. And it will be Casey Hathaway and Bentley Bowden out wide to the right side. Faking the handoff is Tron Webb, gets a block that he desperately needs, throws a pass downfield to Casey Hathaway, falls incomplete, about 2 yards short of the yardage needed for the first down, and that will bring up a 2nd and 10, and we'll take a quick break.
Here is what satisfied customers are saying about Giselle Chevrolet in Gilmer. At Giselle, we got professional help with no hassle from salespeople. We were offered financial planning to pay for our vehicle at Giselle. It's like hometown business. Honesty sells more cars than high-pressure sales. At Giselle, we were treated like customers should be treated. Folks, what are you waiting for? There is another choice. Giselle Chevrolet Olds Geo, Highway 271 South in Gilmer.
2nd and 10, Tron Webb on the keeper, looking for some blocking, doesn't get it, loses a yard back to the 40, and that will bring up 2nd down and, well, just call it a long 10. He loses actually about a half a yard.
That was number 58. Tim Polk was in there for Kilgore. Among other people, they just got the penetration, got out the ball really quick, and we're back there. At least didn't lose more than that.
2:58 and counting left here in the 3rd quarter of play as it continues to get colder. The wind has died down a little bit, which is good news. The Buckeyes trail it by the score of 20-0. They showed some signs of defense early in the ball game in the first quarter as they stopped the Ragin' Red inside the Buckeye 1. They showed some signs of offense in the first quarter, but have been pretty quiet on both sides of the ball in the 2nd quarter and since then. Tron Webb now slipping as he runs back. He's on his own, and look out, a pick. And that will go for another touchdown as the Buckeyes were trying to set up the screen pass, but Torrey Henson, number 9, picked the screen off as the Buckeyes showed it too early. And now it is a 26-0 ball game, and I would be willing to guess that Kilgore will probably attempt the 2, but no, they do send the kicker Chappell out. And
did you see Tron on that one? He was on the ground, and they put him on the ground again in the pass protection. As he's leaving the field, start a bunch of the Buckeye fans.
Well, I'm not surprised. I had said if they scored the 21st point, I felt like the fans would leave. They did stay in and hang for a while. There's Tony Darden, former great Buckeye quarterback, who, of course, playing professional football now. Professional baseball now. He's with the Florida Marlins organization. Good to see Tony back in town. And there has been a timeout called, and while they call that timeout, we'll take it with them. On the part of Coach Mike Valerie. I wasn't going to say anything much about this, but a little bit of frustration on my part earlier in the week. I always call the opposing coaches on Monday or Tuesday and ask them for a starting lineup. I did not get that from Coach Valerie. He gave me a rather hard time about our video, quite frankly, early on, and then he told me if I'd give him a number, he would fax a starting lineup to me, and were it not for the graciousness of the Kilgore radio crew, we still wouldn't have had a starting lineup for Kilgore. And in my mind, you do play a point spread in this district, but if memory serves me correctly, it's only about 18 points. Obviously, at 26-0, you already had that. So in my mind, a little bit of rub it in your nose football, and I don't, nor do I think Coach Doug Bush or anyone else on the Gilmer sidelines appreciate that trying to run up the score situation. And that's not to say anything negative against his team, but in my mind, just an unsportsmanlike coaching decision.
Well, if it's any consolation, their band wasn't that good.
Well, I knew we'd win the halftime show of the band.
Maybe you shouldn't have made it higher.
And the Kilgore Bulldogs will kick it away once again, as Chappell has had a workout with that leg tonight. Hasn't attempted any field goals, but he certainly has put his foot into that ball on a number of kickoffs, as, of course, this will be about the 5th time tonight. Actually about the 8th time tonight, because there were a couple that went out of bounds. So he's had a lot of practice kicking tonight. Here goes the kick. It's 28-0, and finally Rico Gardner will touch it on the return. He picks it up at the 4, hunting for the wedge, finds it in the return. The Buckeyes set up just short of the 20, 1st and 10 at their own 19. 2:15 left in the third quarter, and what was a great game for a quarter and a half has turned into an absolute mauling, as the Kilgore Bulldogs literally have turned the pit bulls loose on the Buckeyes now, 28-0. And needless to say, the Buckeyes showing not a whole lot of signs of life offensively, as now this Raging Red defense is fired up, although on first down, Carlos Smith runs across the 35 to the 36. And here again, I don't think you can fault the Buckeyes. They have played their hearts out the last couple of weeks, but as we have talked about, the lack of a passing game absolutely has killed them in this district, and don't expect it to be much better next week as far as going up against, without a doubt, the toughest offense in this district. 2nd and 3. Tron Webb going on the keeper. He cuts it back up the middle, has a first down out across the 40 to the 42, and with 1:35 left in the third quarter, the Buckeyes will pick up a 1st and 10.
Well, I noticed on that play, as they were coming to the line, Tron talked to number 70, Seth Langford, and told him, Kevin was telling you that one of the players was down. We didn't want to talk about that, because Seth Langford, they were talking at the line and said, said something to him, and Seth ran upfield, kind of drawing some of him, and Tron was able to break it out towards the near side on that play.
Well, the Buckeyes do get the 1st and 10. Clyde Jones goes out wide to the left side now. Bentley Bowden wide right, 1:20 and counting left in the third quarter. Buckeyes desperately trying to get something going here, and mix up in the backfield as Tron was trying to hand off to Carlos Smith, unable to get the handoff, and the reason he couldn't secure the handoff is the offensive line just totally broke down, and 4 guys were on top of Tron and Carlos as he tried to handle the ball. And Tron once again coming up a little bit shaken on that play, loss of about a half yard on the play. We're down to 48 seconds left here in the third quarter. Buckeyes, no doubt, will run one more play here with the wind, and then they will go against it in the fourth quarter. And man, oh man, do they have a hill to climb to get back in this one, trailing 28-0. Will Farrell moving into the tight end slot. Misdirection play, pitch back going to Rico Gardner. He gets a block and gets down to inside the dog territory to the 49. That's going to be about a yard short of the yardage needed for the first down. That'll bring up third down and about a yard. And we will not have another play here in the third quarter as we're down to 12 seconds and counting left in the quarter.
Well, that time Jason Jonigan got into the backfield, and Rico just flat out ran him.
Well, that's the kind of plays the Buckeyes are going to have an awful lot of in the fourth quarter to even make this one respectable. That is the end of the third quarter. Our score, the Kilgore Bulldogs 28, the Gilmer Buckeyes 0.
Proudly invite you to stop by their new location at 900 Northwood in Gilmer today. You'll love the easy access into and out of the bank on Highway 271. Besides the same friendly folks you've been used to dealing with, they also feature an international ATM machine that accepts all ATM and credit cards. And be sure to ask about their new 24-hour telebank service that allows you to make numerous transactions by phone 24 hours a day. Stop by today at 900 Northwood in Gilmer, and you'll say, Gilmer National, that's my bank. E-Tech Cellular and E-Tex Telephone Cooperative are your hometown community partners for telecommunication services in Upshur and Marion counties. E-Tex Cellular, in cooperation with 360 Communications, can give you the latest in cellular telephones. E-Tex Cellular specialists will help you choose the phone and service package that is just right for you. Cellular phones are great for security when you or a loved one has to do a lot of traveling. E-Tex Cellular backs the Buckeyes and is your local hometown community partner. For more information, call Bruce Maurer or Beverly Slatter at 1-800-657-5251.
And on the first play of the fourth quarter, the Buckeyes will face 3rd and a yard at the 49 of Kilgore. A quarterback keeper by Tron Webb will get the first down as he will go down to the 48-yard line, actually the 47.5. 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes.
That was a pretty good surge by the line that time, just to keep. I don't think Kilgore even didn't expect that one, but that was still a good surge by the line to get him upfield. And Tron's taking instructions, waiting for the play to come in by number 8, Clyde Osborne. And I'd like to see them utilize the tight ends like they were earlier, like they have earlier in the season, because they have some really good tight ends still.
Well, of course, now the Buckeyes, I imagine, are going to be a little wary of the pass after that screen being picked off and returned for a touchdown. That's what really put them deeper in the hole. And fumble on that play. And Tron, I do believe, recovered it, but that will be for no gain. And with 11:35 left in the ball game, the Buckeyes will face 2nd and 10, trailing 28-0 to the Kilgore Bulldogs.
It might have been that the field is a little bit wet and the ball is a little bit damp still, and Tron looks like he might have gotten some dirt in his eye from diving. He dove pretty quick and pretty hard to get that ball, and it looked like a Kilgore player was right in there too. Might have jabbed him in the eye.
Well, Coach Doug Bush looking at him, signaling, do you need to have a replacement come in for you? Tron shook him off, said, nope, Coach, I'm okay. And he gets the signals, and we'll give it now to the team. Bentley Bowden out wide to the right side on 2nd and 10. And once again, the handoff goes to Carlos Smith. He gets inside the 45-yard line, gain of about, call it 4 on the play, a short 4. Well, actually make it 3. 3rd down and 7 upcoming. And once again, the Buckeyes have to be in 4-down territory. And certainly I know they do not want to be shut out 2 weeks in a row headed to that final game in Carthage next week.
Well, it's kind of like what was happening to Kilgore earlier in the game. There's 17 trillion Bulldogs on Smith and Rico every time they run it. I like this. They put Anthony Hawkins in the game.
And it will be now Bentley Bowden wide left, Casey Hathaway wide right. And Tron Webb dropping back to pass. Now he goes with a quarterback draw because he realizes everybody's covered. He breaks into the clear and gets inside the 35 down to the 31-yard line. And, of course, that is more than enough for the 1st and 10, and the Buckeyes do at least get a first down here. That is one thing that time that even though the Buckeyes haven't had a lot of success passing, that is opening things up a little bit more because of the fact they had to respect the arm of Tron Webb on that play. When they saw the 3 wideouts, they dropped back into deep coverage. They had every receiver covered, but there was nobody left to come after Tron Webb, so he just took off and gunned it for about 18 yards.
And he has that speed to pull that off, too.
The ball at the 31-yard line, deepest threat of the Buckeyes thus far this evening. And the handoff going once again to Anthony Hawkins this time as he is down to the 25-yard line, and that is good for about a 6-yard gain. 2nd and short 4 upcoming.
Kilgore put Tron on his posterior again that time, or he's down, and he's ready. He's ready to get on and play the ball. He wants to score.
Well, this would probably be the Buckeyes' best opportunity. They desperately need to push this in. And, of course, if they do, don't be surprised to see a squib kick or something along that side to try to get back in this thing. Bentley Bowden, the only wide out. He'll go wide left, and we've got motion by the Buckeyes, but the officials didn't see it, fortunately. Pitch back on the sweep going to Rico Gardner, but that's going to be nothing doing as Gardner will be dropped for a yard loss. 3rd down now and a full 4. Upcoming, ball spotted back at the 25-yard line, rather.
Well, Kilgore did what we've seen Gilmer do to everybody else. Let him run 100 yards. Just let him run it east and west instead of north. Or, well, we want him to go north this time. And they just strung that one out until the defender was actually able to come around the Buckeye offensive lineman that time.
Good defensive pursuit, definitely that time. They'll let you run lateral all night long, but of course, not only does that take up time, but that doesn't get you a whole lot out of it, as you can see by that last play.